What is happening, folks? Welcome back to the 182 News Podcast. This is your host, poppincurbs, and I felt like it was time for a motherfucking emergency pod. Here we go. Oh my. I did not think we would have to talk this soon. We got to talk this soon. I mentioned on one of the last podcasts I was kind of shocked that the last tour kind of ended abruptly. Obviously, the band took a couple months off, well deserved. I thought maybe we'd be getting a new video, thought maybe Turpentine was going to come. Obviously, not happening. Thought maybe we would get a new song. Didn't totally happen, but we got a brand new song in the set list. Are you kidding me? Live debut. Did not have that on the bingo card. We had the band playing a plus 44 and Boxcar Racer medley. Are you kidding me? I did not think that would happen in a million years. The tour kicked off. This One More Time tour kicked off. I just can't believe that it's already here. I can't believe that it started and my shows still aren't for like a month and a half away, it feels like. But I feel like the band had been grinding and grinding, and this tour kind of snuck up on me with no new song that we knew of, no new video. I was kind of wondering if the hype would be super high for this leading into it. Was it maybe starting off again a little bit too quick? All of a sudden last night, my hype train went through the roof to the point of us needing to chat a little bit here. Okay. This may be a shorter one, but we've got some stuff to dive into. The tour kicked off in Orlando, Florida. Leading up to this, as far as my hype meter went, some of the stuff that had me excited were 4 new basses that Mark had. He was going to bust out. I saw some of that. One of them, the most important to me, was made by JP Tron Walker, anime tattoo artist, rad artist who's been on the podcast. You've probably heard me mention him several times. I was stoked for this one. I had seen this one a while back and I was just waiting for this huge reveal because I was so stoked for JP. Huge Blink fan. Literally dreamt of working with Blink when he was in a shitty apartment that was like infested with rats. And here he is. He did the anime logo, he's done some merch for them. And then to do a bass for Mark that incorporates Pokemon, which I love Pokemon. It has 2 of Mark's favorite Pokemon on it, Dialga and Empoleon, and it just looks amazing. So to see that, actually, Brian Diaz, Mark's bass tech, was the first one to kind of tease it publicly that I saw. uh, and then to see that being played last night, I mean, oh my gosh, that is so rad. So stoked for him. And honestly, man, the artwork on it is just killer. And then the other one that I was looking forward to seeing was by Pants. I believe the artist just goes by Pants. The Instagram handle is Pants Pants. So maybe there's 2 there. I don't know. But that one has very unique art of Mark as kind of a bee, and it's got some bees going around the base. I dig that one. If you look at Mark's profile picture on Instagram right now, that's that artist's drawing of him as a bee. That's actually perfect. looks just like him as an anamorph. I was stoked to see that one. I saw someone get a tattoo of that actually, which is hilarious. We saw both of those. And then there were 2 more. Honestly, I haven't seen full concert clips yet to know if the other 2 were busted out, but he has 2 more signature ones that Fender hooked him up with. One, you might mistake it for Petey. It's a sunburst kind of print on it that looks pretty rad. And then there is another like surf green looking one. The quick way to tell on those is the headstock is matching. So the headstock will have a matching colorway, which is very unique. Looks pretty rad. So I was stoked really just to see new basses out on tour. Um, but I wasn't quite sure what to expect when it comes to this show. You know, they just got off tour. So again, it feels kind of weird to me that they're right back out on tour. Obviously stoked. It's just we're not used to this typically, especially with Tom's version of Blink. So the tour kicks off, and just like all of you, you know, you start seeing pictures of people who are lined up early. You start hoping to get sneaks of merch pics, the VIP stuff. Right away, one of the first things you'll see is the merch side of things. So it's a new merch company. So I think most of you know that Mr. T-shirt is no longer with Blink. I don't know why. I don't know if that was his choice. I probably should ask him. It's the second time that this has happened. My guess is he probably just was too busy, or that's a lot of work for a band like Blink, especially at the level they're at now. So I wouldn't surprise if he just kind of bowed out gracefully, which is what happened the first go around. Um, but the new merch company, I saw they had like a trailer that has the One More Time cover painted on it, which looks pretty rad. And then we started getting some pictures out of the new merch. Now, right away, and this always happens, people complain about the merch. um, I will say for me, going way back, I have always primarily rocked side band, or not side band, their side brands, as far as like Famous Stars and Straps, Hi, My Name is Mark, To the Stars, even going back to like Atticus, Macbeth. Um, so I don't get too bent out of shape over merch. I dug some of these. Some, I can't rock one that says "I effed your mom." As much as I wish I could, I can't rock that publicly. But some of the ones that I liked the most, I really liked that long sleeve that had a new Blink logo that kind of looked like pink bubble gum. I dig that one. I liked the plain hoodie with just the new Blink smiley on it. I liked the blue hoodie that kind of had the multicolored Blink 182 all over it. So, and then actually my favorite thing I think was in the sticker pack, there was a Skankin' Rabbit one. It's like light blue. It says Blink 182 and it has the Skankin' Rabbit. I think of all the merch, that's probably my favorite item. Um, I don't get too bent out of shape over the merch side of things. I'm sure it'll sell either way. I know some people were really mad about it, but it's one of those things where people work hard on stuff, and if you don't want to buy it, you don't have to. I think concert stuff is typically pretty expensive anyway. So, on one side of the coin, I'm kind of stoked to not be crazy tempted to buy 50 items because that'll all add up super quickly. But we did get some new merch. Um, One of the items that was offered, I've been asked a lot about this, is Travis's VIP package. So Travis offered, he started this at the Mexico dates at the end of the last stretch, but some sort of Travis meet and greet. I think the price can range from basically a grand to 1,500, depending on the date. I get it. It is expensive. Too expensive for me. I'm not doing it, but I will say, because a lot of people rag on it. A lot of people are getting real bent out of shape. I see both sides of it. On the positive side, at least there's an opportunity. So, for a lot of folks, if I hadn't met Travis before, then yeah, that might be worth it. If he's your hero and inspires you to play drums, or you've, followed this band for 30 years or 20 years, however long, and all you want to do is meet Travis and get a picture and get something signed, then it's probably worth it. Like the people who are spending that money, I bet they come out of it happy. I mean, I've paid a lot for meet and greets in the past. I think the price of everything has just shot up in the past 3 or 4 years. So I think for folks going, they're gonna have a good time. I mean, you get to meet Travis. I can't imagine that there's a ton of people, so it'll be a fairly intimate setting. I would guess maybe 25 or less people. Um, you get a Polaroid photo, which Travis will sign. One of the things I don't know, and I haven't seen any reports of it yet, but I don't know if you can bring anything additional to get signed. I don't know if you can take a picture with your cell phone. To me, that would make it a little more enticing because I would want to maybe get a copy of the new album signed, or a photo on my phone, a Polaroid. It's cool, but it also might look a little dated or not as clear and nice as you would want it to. I haven't seen any details on that. So if you go to that, or as these start to come out, let me know. Did you dig it? Did you think it was worth it? Specific to the US sites, there is an opportunity to get a flash tattoo. And to me, I mean, that raises the value of it significantly. Because if you go into a tattoo shop by a good tattoo artist, it's probably going to cost you 200 to 400 bucks. Now, a flash might be a little bit cheaper, of course, but at least you're getting blasted. You've got a rad memory. I was really curious to see the tattoos that were offered. When I looked at it, I saw that there were going to be flash tattoos, Blink related in some capacity, and that each city would have unique, opportunities or unique designs to get. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'll tell you, I saw them yesterday. Travis posted a picture, and I think it was on Snapchat. I've never had Snapchat, but people send them to me, and I saw them, and there were three flash sheets. And honestly, the designs look pretty sick. I just did a video on Blink-182 tattoos, and I just love seeing Blink Ink and what people get, and some people get lyrics or what era and all that stuff. So I decided to do a video on Blink tattoos, and I opened it up and I asked for folks to send theirs in, and that's up on the YouTube page if you haven't seen that yet. And I plan on doing a round two. So send me your Blink Ink if you've got some, and you're cool with me posting it. But as part of that, in that video, I was mentioning, man, I think I have too many Blink tattoos. I saw a lot of skanking rabbits. I don't have just a classic skanking rabbit. I have the rabbit incorporated into like a split personality thing, but it's not that true old school rabbit design. I was like, man, everybody's posting these and sending me these. I really want one, but I think I have too many Blink tattoos. I really do. I think I have too many. And as I started seeing these flash designs that Travis posted, I was like, man, those look pretty rad. There's quite a few of these I would dig and totally get. So I think obviously if you've got a chance to go meet Travis, get a picture, not have to go wait by the bus or be disappointed. To me, it is pricey. Again, I'm not doing it because of that. But, for folks who are doing it, I think they'll have a great experience. And to me, I am totally down to pay artists um, to not have to awkwardly try to meet them. I know on the other side of things, people are like, "Oh, it's so superficial and dumb." They don't even want to meet you, and you're having to pay to do it, and blah blah blah. I get that. You can go down that route. Or people always say, oh, I met Travis for free in 1999. Well, a long time ago. A lot of stuff's happened between now and then. Or I ran into Travis at Universal for free. Well, good luck. What are you just going to stand on the corner at in the middle of the city they're in and just pray he walks by you for 2 days or however long they're in town? It's one of those things. If you want to guarantee if it's worth it to you, go for it. Don't feel bad about it. You'll come out of it with a rad memory. I guarantee it. And if you've got the tattoo, if you've got a rad photo, a rad autograph, I think it's probably going to be worth it for those of you who go down that path. Anxious to hear how it turns out if you do it. The other VIP stuff, it was so long ago when these tickets went on sale. On one thing, it's a good thing because the shows are sneaking up, and I'm like thinking that I need to buy stuff. I'm like, oh shit, that's already all paid for. Thankfully, that's great. Um, but I think when these went on sale, there were again different VIP packages that included tickets. So I think those included a ticket. Travis's meet and greet does not. But for those of you who had like this, I think there were super VIP that had the lounge and included an autographed poster or item. I saw that poster. That looks sick. I don't know how much that super VIP was, but I want one of those posters. Those things turned out pretty gnarly. You don't get to meet the band. Um, but at least you got a signed item in that package. That didn't happen on the last stretch, so that's rad. So I don't know if you can add those on at this point, or I'm pretty sure those were bundles purchased, long ago whenever these went on sale. And I'm anxious to see how folks who bought that feel about it coming out of it. It looked like the VIP lounge was pretty similar. However, I did notice, of course, the sticker strat was not in Tom's case. It was actually replaced with his Gibson, the black and blue splatter one is what I call it. I love this Gibson. It's one of my favorites. I think it's an underrated one of his. It reminds me, you saw it out on tour during like that Lifeforms era, kind of that Kiss and Tell, really before Lifeforms era. Um, it was one of my favorite ones, and I thought that one was actually going to be on the chopping block to be sanded down or repainted. I'm so glad they didn't do that because I love this guitar. So at least they switched those up a little bit. And I did notice those little cases they wheel out did have different backgrounds, some unique different items in there. I saw the Wasting Time CD. I saw They Came to Conquer Uranus. Mark's First Base, it looked like, was still in one of those. So it's cool. I don't know how much it cost, but I think for those of you who do it, to be able to get in early, get a couple drinks, look at some rad memorabilia. We don't know how long Blink is going to be touring. Again, I preach from the rooftops. You don't know when they're going to be in your town next or going to be near you next. Splurge, go for it. Go have a rad time. I don't think you'll regret it. It's going to be rad. Um, we get to the show, okay, and this is where my hype meter is starting to rise abruptly. I started seeing pictures of the stage. Now, based on the Ticketmaster seating chart, we knew it was out in the middle. Kind of looked round, kind of looked similar to the last one that jetted out a little bit, but this is more of a 360 round view. And as soon as people got let in, pictures started surfacing, and it's the smiley logo basically with the arrows and everything, smack dab in the middle, and it just looks amazing. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is looking pretty sick. People start filing in, and then we start getting into some of the set list stuff. And I'm one where I don't care too much about spoilers. Um, I'm not going to send them out myself and ruin it for everybody. But I will say, when the set list stuff leaks and some of the information stuff leaks about it, I had to take a peek. And one of the things that I noticed right away is M&Ms. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." My hope, what I was praying for this tour, I didn't know what to expect as far as set list mix up. That's always a big argument amongst Blink fans. You play the same stuff. Well, they're playing stadium shows. These are huge crowds. They're obviously going to play the popular stuff. They just got off tour. I don't know how much they can mix it up. Of course, this is pitched as the one more time. You would hope it would be a little bit new album heavy, but the end of the last tour, we had More Than You Know, we had Dance With Me. Last few shows, they were closing with One More Time. I didn't know what to expect. So, I was kind of expecting more or less the same, maybe a deep cut thrown in there. And really all I was hoping for was give me a carousel, give me an M&M's, or give me a Josie. Throw that in, slide that in, and I'll be happy. The rest of the set list, they're a product of 30 years of great songs. So, and they play 25, and they've got to play about 7 or 8 of those. So I really didn't know what to expect, but I just wanted, with Tom back in the band and them rekindling their friendship, and I think really appreciating, the Blink brand or band that they've built in all these years and all these memories, and just seeing it from a I don't know, a wiser, more mature point of view now amongst themselves. I just wanted them to play some of that old stuff. It's going to be a good one. They're not going to play Touchdown Boy. I wanted to hear an M&M's, a Wasting Time, a Josie, or like a Carousel, and just kind of basically see Tom and Mark play that again. Something that started so many years ago with them just jamming in a garage or jamming in Scott's bedroom. I wanted to see that. So what jumped out to me right away is we've got M&M's, we've got Obvious. So I heard them play that with Skiba at the Vegas residency. They hadn't busted that out in some time. And to see that thrown back in, I mean, obviously Untitled for a lot of folks is their favorite album. So I think that'll go over well. That's a fairly deep cut from that album. I saw Not Now was back, which is huge. The last tour, they played that once. I actually heard them sound check that, and they played it once the next day. And basically, I believe it was Detroit. Detroit kind of ruined it for him because I remember Mark saying like the crowd just didn't react at all. It was just like crickets. So I thought Not Now would be retired. My Blink friend in real life, that's actually his favorite Blink song. It's when I did my top 10 most underrated Blink songs. Not Now was my number one. Spoiler alert, go listen to that podcast from 3 years ago. um, but I didn't know if that one would see the light of day again. So to have that back in there right away, this stuff's just jumping out at me. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's some tweaks here. They thought about this. They're switching it up a little bit. And then I started seeing some of the other stuff on there. Oh, there's a song on there I don't recognize. What could that be? Oh, there's a Plus 44 song? There's a Boxcar Racer song? What? Oh my gosh. Did not see that coming. Did not have that on the bingo card. So I was just ecstatic to see some of this. And right away, I was just bummed that my show is a month and a half away. I'm thinking, good Lord, I should have booked something next week and tried to make it happen. I want to read through this set list and then we will kind of break down some of the songs. So the set list in and of itself, spoiler alert, we start with Feeling This. So that's a change from the last tour. Last tour, they were opening with Anthem 2, which I thought was a cool way to fresh that up. And I love Anthem 2 and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Obviously, you guys know that. But going back to Feeling This, I think it felt kind of right. Feeling This is what they opened up with Forever. So I think the timing there to go back to it is perfect. Feeling This into Rock Show, going into rock show is pretty common for them. It's kind of the way to just kick in that energy and keep it going. Man Overboard, that's one that was kind of swapped in and out on the last one. Love that song. I'm stoked that that's still on there. Aliens Exist. I think with Tom, you have to play that one at this point. Dance with Me. So I cannot wait to hear this song live. This is one that it came out and was implemented basically halfway through the last tour. So a lot of folks didn't even get a chance to see that one live. Being the One More Time tour, they're going to be playing this stuff. Obvious. This was the first one that was kind of a surprise to me when you're going in order. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Deep Cut off of Untitled. I think that one will be sick to hear live. Bored to Death. So, of all the Skiba era stuff, even before some of their first shows, I was thinking if they're going to play anything from the Skiba era, and I truly did not think they would, it would have to be Bored to Death. It really would. That would be the one. And Tom just kills that one. I love hearing Tom's rendition of it and him singing it. And I'm stoked that they're still at least paying homage to that era in some capacity. Edging, stoked that's still on there, of course. That was the lead single really for this Tom back in Blink era. That's one that actually I've revisited quite a bit recently. It kind of fell off my radar just being out for so long, and then we got the new album. But I've grown to appreciate that one even more. Up All Night, I love this song. It's still shocking to me that some of the fan base apparently doesn't. I remember finding that out like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm like, what? You guys didn't like Up All Night? Are you kidding me? If you're going to represent the neighborhoods era, that's going to be the one. More Than You Know, this is the one that I cannot wait to hear live the most. This has really risen to the top of this One More Time album for me, and it's probably my favorite song on the album and of this era. So I cannot wait to hear that one live. M&M's, again, there's the deep Cheshire Cat cut. A lot of folks have been asking for that. I've seen tons of pictures posted. Ian Grushka from Newfound Glory at Psycho Smoke, you've probably seen his clips. He went live. He probably had the best point of view of it that I've seen thus far. He went live on Instagram, streamed it. People were going crazy. I saw some of the other Blink pages picking that up and posting it, and that's just awesome to hear that. And I talked to Ian last night about the show, and he was stoked. Stay Together. You're gonna play this. It's powerful, rad song. And then we get into the Not Now, which I mentioned a little bit ago. Um, for a lot of people, that's one of their favorite Blink songs. So I'm stoked that made it back in. I haven't seen crowd reactions, or I haven't spoken to anybody about specifically how the crowd reacted to each of these songs. Um, but I hope it went over well so that future places get it. Okay, Can't Go Back. All right, this is one that I've never heard before. Oh, this is a brand new Blink song. They don't do this, okay? Blink does not play songs live for the first time prior to being released. And not even that, this song, according to Mark, is not even mixed yet and was written about 3 weeks ago. People, this does not happen ever. This is crazy for Blink to do. I know maybe a lot of bands that you see at the dive bar bust out their new songs all the time. Blink doesn't do this traditionally. I remember in an interview at one point, which makes perfect sense to me, one of them was saying something along the lines of, we don't want the song to debut first on a live, shitty YouTube video, which is where it is right now. But I think the fact that they are comfortable busting this out was just super rad. I mean, I was not expecting this at all. If we were going to get it, I expected a new song to officially drop like last week or Tuesday or something, and then maybe they would play it live. But to get a live debut when this song isn't out yet, no ETA of being out yet, is just crazy. I'm going to touch on that song a little bit more here in a minute. I'm going to continue through the set list. I Miss You, they're gonna play that. Down. This is one, like, if I had to pick this apart, there's 2 songs on here that I would prefer probably be swapped, but the thing is, they're so popular, they're gonna play them. Down, and then I'll get to it a little bit later, but Always, those are 2 that I'm just kinda like, "Man, I'd rather hear something else," but I guarantee you from the crowd's perspective or mass appeal, they're probably huge pops, during the set. After that, when your heart stops beating slash there is. Okay, I will say this. I am a huge Plus 44 fan to this day. Have Plus 44 tats. Always rocked with Plus 44 back in the day. And if you weren't there, um, sides were taken amongst the fan base. It's kind of similar to what happened with the last breakup with Skiba Era versus Tom and Angels and all that stuff. But back then, it was it was kind of gnarly. I mean, they split up. Travis and Mark formed Plus 44. Kind of continued what more or less sounded like Blink in some capacity. Tom went with Angels and Airwaves, started his own thing, and you got the adventure, which a lot of people love, but obviously very different sounds than what we were used to with Blink 182. And during that time, I always loved both, but if I had to pick a side to sway, I was Plus 44 life for life. And it was gnarly. And there were, I mean, literally magazines where the front of the magazine said, "Fuck Tom DeLonge," with a Plus 44 article with him. So it was a gnarly, gnarly time. And I think, hell, even up until recently, that probably bothered both of them in some capacity, if you ask them honestly. And I think the beauty of this whole era is that they've really thrown all that to the wayside. Let bygones be bygones. We were younger, immature, shit happens. Let's just be happy with this beautiful thing that we've created. It's not going to happen again. That's the whole mantra around the One More Time album title is we're not going to go through that crap again. This is the last iteration of Blink, and we're older and wiser and mature enough to not let shit split us apart again, essentially. That being said, I would never have thought that I would hear Plus 44 in a Blink set. I would never have thought I would hear Boxcar Racer in a Blink set. They have done things separately where their bands have kind of leaked into the set. So, for example, Plus 44 used to play Blink stuff. The show I saw them at, they played What's My Age Again and they played Rock Show. Tom has implemented on that Life Forms tour I was just talking about. He was doing um, Blink and Boxcar Racer in his little acoustic medley, which was rad. Because if you weren't able to catch a show or you weren't around back then, it's kind of a cool way to see. Say you've seen Boxcar or Plus 44 in some capacity or Blink or whatever. So I did not think that these would ever bleed into a Blink set. I mean, all along, it's Blink has been its own separate thing. And so, really, the first kind of instance or shock or surprise with this was Terrified on the Blink album. We talked about that extensively. That was a Boxcar Racer song. Or Tom had written it in 2018 ish, and it was going to be a standalone release. And ultimately, for them to put that on the One More Time album was a big deal, really big deal, in my opinion. Especially from Mark's side. These dudes. I mean, they're all amazing songwriters, but they do all have their own egos. And when you have um, three different sides or perspectives in the band, and they're all basically as famous as as the other. Travis probably more so than any of them, of course, at this point. But um, it can be hard to accept other people's ideas. And I bet going back to Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was when some of that stuff first started, where there were arguments among songwriting and direction and that type of thing. And sometimes you kind of have to throw the egos aside, as Mark has said, and just make a song together. Like it doesn't have to be, I'm not doing this. This is a boxcar song or blah, blah, blah. So to have this in a Blink set is insane. And so to have this little medley, I saw some clips of it. Basically, Mark was starting off When Your Heart Stops Beating, and it sounded like he was just doing it on bass, which was interesting because when I heard they were going to do this, I didn't know if they were going to play the whole song and then they were going to switch over to the Boxcar song and Mark was going to play bass on that. Tom playing guitar to the plus 44. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mind's going in all these different directions. Um, what's this going to sound like? But ultimately, it looks like, and I'm anxious to see more videos of it. But it looked like Mark was kind of strumming his bass to the "When Your Heart Stops Beating," and it's kind of a gnarly, like it sounded darker that way. It sounded a little bit haunting. Um, and then they switched over to Travis started up that snare, and Tom came in and basically played guitar to the "There Is." So to have that during a Blink set in 2024, that's some special shit right there. That is something that squirt gun to the head. If you asked me if they would ever play Plus 44 or Boxcar at a Blink show, I would say no chance. I mean, I would have given that less of a chance than a Skiba era Blink song. And here they are proving me wrong on both of those. Um, really, really rad. So it's like, man, when I'm looking through this, I don't want to hear complaints about the set list. um, After that, we go into Fuckface, one more time interlude. That'll be cool just to hear Travis kind of go off and talk. Anthem 3. This is one that I just cannot wait to hear live. Obviously kicks off the new album, banger. I saw some clips of that, looked really sick. We get into kind of the last section here, Always. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is one that in multiple iterations of the set list. I'll be curious to see if it gets swapped in or out. I probably won't, but it's one for me personally that I'd be cool with getting swapped out. We get into the final stretch here. What's My Age Again? Of course. First Date, of course. All the Small Things. Damn It. And One More Time. And I'll be very curious to hear and just, you know, be there for One More Time closing out the set. It's interesting because the other day, this is what the sleuths do online, and I read it too, so I'm probably in that category in some capacity. But I think one of the techs posted a clip, and there was a set list where you could just see the little bottom of it. And at the bottom of that one, they closed with All the Small Things and then One More Time, which, damn it, is typically the closer. So that was very surprising to me. And when I was sent that, I was reading it, I'm like, man, I could see it. I mean, All the Small Things is like the biggest song ever. Again, these are stadium shows, these are huge shows. You're going to have mass, wide, broad audience. It's you're gonna play the most popular stuff probably last. So that made sense to me. But to see it reversed here and damn it be in its proper slot, I'm cool with that, of course. And then one more time closing it. When they started doing this at the end of the last tour, I was really interested to see how it went over because you're kind of ending on a sad note, really, to be honest. Even when I listen to the One More Time album now, sometimes I'll have to jet past that song because I'm not trying to cry driving down the freeway. And to end the set like that, you kind of end typically on that damn it high note, the sperm confetti, which I've already seen on eBay, which is just fascinating to me. Imagine leaving a Blink concert and like before you're even home, you're researching like sperm confetti prices and putting that as like a buy it now on eBay with multiple quantities. Like, what? Cherish that sperm confetti. It said sperm encore. I put in my Instagram story, hashtag sperm encore. Are you kidding me? But damn it, ending on that crazy high note, that's the rush. That's where it's like, okay, everybody needs a cigarette and a Gatorade. Now, to end that on the One More Time, I will be interested to feel that myself. And it's one of those things like I've seen videos of it. It looks cool. It looks like everybody's going out on that note. Um, but until I experience that myself, I'm hesitant to opine on One More Time versus Damn It as the true closer. So, all in all, as I said a little bit ago, my take was I don't want to hear anybody complaining about the set list because to even begin to think that we would get a brand new song that's not out yet, and then to get a plus 44 and BCR medley, are you kidding me? Um, if I had to pick it apart, the only thing that bummed me out slightly is that there was no turpentine. Turpentine, turpentine. I'm just gonna say them both forever so people don't yell at me. However, if you see the set list picture that's going around that I'm looking at right now, it says Orlando V3, version 3, I'm assuming, and Mark has already came out and said stuff will be changing. So I would not be surprised to see like Eminem swapped with Carousel or something swapped out with an Enema era track, some of the stuff they hadn't played in a bit. So I don't know. I don't want to be too picky about this just yet. We've seen one show. There's a lot more to come. They're out for like 10 weeks. It's crazy. They're going all over. My advice would be get out and appreciate these shows. Blink has been going so hard the past couple years. It's crazy. Get out, enjoy these shows, cherish them, because you don't know when this cycle is going to kick back in and they're going to be around you again. So um, I'm stoked. I mean, I didn't know what to expect coming into this tour, but to see this, I'm just honestly like blown away and just can't wait to get to a show. Let's transition here to the new song. Now, mind you, I have only really seen YouTube clips of this, and not a ton. You know, I haven't watched the whole show. I haven't really had time yet to sit down and dig through all the tracks I want to see live. Um, but given the new song, I've been able to listen to this a handful of times, and I was thinking, okay, if you're going to debut a new song, my thought was it's going to be a fast paced, like super energetic banger. And right away, when I started seeing the clips of it surfacing, I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a slower jam." I'm shocked that Blink is doing this, debuting a song live before it's even ready to roll out, and then that it would be a slower song. Because any fast paced song, I mean, you'll have anybody in the crowd or drunk people in the crowd going crazy to any type of fast drumming or guitar picking or whatever. But to kinda have a slow, peaceful jam going on here, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that really caught me off guard." But then I started listening to the melody and the lyrics, and I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a dark Mark song," and I'm all about those. And just that melody, I listened to it, bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, ba-da-na-na. It's like, "Oh my god, I cannot get that out of my head." And then I started seeing the lyrics surface. And Mark had opened back up the Blink channel on Discord, which shocked me as well. And he posted his actual lyrics in there, which I'm gonna read. And I was thinking, oh my God, like I love this song. And when I woke up this morning, it was stuck in my head. And I can't stop playing that melody in my head. I cannot wait to hear this song in its proper release. And unfortunately, we don't know when that is. So I'm stoked to get a couple more live videos. Hopefully, they continue playing it each show, but we'll see. Here are the lyrics for this. Please don't it's so hard for me to read this and not sing it. Please don't be ba 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 da da da. Okay, I'm gonna try to read this real serious. Please don't bring me back to reality. I keep all the monsters inside of me. They keep feeding on my anxiety. Please don't change your life just because of me. Holy shit. That is I keep all the monsters inside of me. They keep feeding on my anxiety. And then the next part, maybe I'm a fool for this, couldn't climb out of my own coffin. Fair to say I can't go back. And that's the song title, of course, Can't Go Back. Maybe I'm a fool for this, train wreck that I can't stop watching. Fair to say I can't go back. And on that second verse, they've done a really good job intentionally, I think, of really mixing and blending Tom and Mark together throughout the new album. That's something that throw aside any of your thoughts on the songs themselves. From a production standpoint, the way that they blended those two is the best it's ever been done on any album, in my opinion. Obviously, the Jerry Finn stuff is god tier, but a lot of that there's solo Tom stuff, there's solo Mark stuff, there's a handful here and there that'll go back and forth. But the way the attention that they paid to blending them two perfectly and harmonizing them on top of each other or layering them on the new album, it's insane. So I was thinking, okay, Mark starting this song off slow. Is Tom getting the second verse? Is Tom coming in? Ultimately, Tom came in underneath and they were singing together on the second verse, which it just gives you a whole another level of goosebumps. Um, the last part that the lyrics have here, left to take the blame in the silence, came back to the shame and the violence. Standing on the shoulders of giants, we will never let them divide us. That line there, that standing on the shoulders of giants, that's the part that has just been stuck in my head over and over and over. And then it sounds, again, kind of like one more time, I was very curious. Okay, is this going to end heavy? Is this going to switch gears? It kicks into what sounded like a fairly harder outro in some capacity. I've yet to really hear a crystal clear version of this to be able to dissect that part fully, but it does kick into gear a little bit towards the end. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I was kind of shocked that I was digging a slow vibe song this much right out of the gate. Sometimes those have to grow on me a tad, but this is a vibe. I mean, this is a really sick vibe, already stuck in my head. Can't wait to get the official release whenever that comes. I already saw somebody saying that they talked to Travis at the meet and greet, and supposedly there's a deluxe coming. Maybe I'm not just going to go off of what one person had said. It wouldn't surprise me. I hope they do. I mean, that tends to be the route that the Blink has gone. I'm assuming they probably have at least a handful of tracks left over from those recordings and clearly have written some between now and then. So I hope we get some sort of deluxe with this song on it and a double album or something. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'm stoked. New tour, new song is out. And I think one of the things that I just love so much about it is Blink is at a point now where they're doing it their way and they can do whatever the fuck they want. And I'm glad that it feels like they are finally comfortable amongst each other doing that. That was part of my take with like life forms. On life forms, I finally felt that Tom could do really whatever he wanted. He wasn't like stuck to this spacey sound with life forms. He was able to really cross off a lot of check marks on different types of vibes and different types of sounds. Um, and that's why I loved life forms so much, is because it sounded like a perfect blend of just what Tom was artistically at that point in time. On the flip side, Nine, I think, was doing the same thing for Travis and Mark. It was like, okay, Blink can do whatever they want experimentally, all these different vibes, all these different sounds. They're not locked into, okay, we got to make 2.5 minute pop punk or, fast bangers or whatever. And it finally feels like they're comfortable blending that and able to. They have no obligations really from radio or label or whoever. They're doing exactly what they want to do in 2024. And what's rad is they're still creating amazing songs. They're still filling stadiums up, and really just providing just rad nights and rad memories for so much of us. So my takeaway on this song was, man, this was like a slow Mark. Um, Really, it's almost like haunting as far as the lyrics go, which I love when we get that from Mark. Um, and I can't wait to hear more of it. So curious to hear what you think. If you attend a show, let me know how it went. Tag me in your photos. Get those tattoos over to me. You can DM me on the podcast Instagram or email me them, 182 newspodcast at gmail.com. And I will get those into a future tattoo video. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, ideas for future episodes or whatever, happy to chat. All right. The tour is here. Have a great summer, folks. Talk soon.